Hi, everyone, and good afternoon. I am Attorney Yael Brudner, and today I'm going to talk about a question that is on everyone's mind. I know it's on mine, and I know it's on a lot of my clients' minds. How will the election affect immigration, and how will it affect people's cases, either cases that are pending or people that are thinking to apply for immigration cases, for new cases? I am streaming today live on multiple platforms as of today, which is Wednesday, November 4th, 12 p.m. We don't know who is going to win the presidential election. I am, glued to the TV and kind of tracking everything. I'm sure a lot of people are as well. So you might be watching the replay of this, and it might not be relevant to kind of discuss what the effect will be with each president of the presidents if they were elected. But if you are watching the replay and you do have questions, feel free to still write them in the comments, and I will get back to you specifically, even if this is not the live screening. And if you are here and you are watching live, then feel free to ask any questions, and hopefully we can make this interactive, and I will answer your questions as we go. So it's important for me also to say before we start that anything, I'm saying right now about what will happen in a, Trump administration or Biden administration is 100% my opinion. We don't know exactly. We can anticipate. We know what they say is going to happen, or what the candidates are saying that their immigration stance is going to be, but we don't know for sure until it actually happens, right? So let's dive into it and let's see what will happen. Let's kind of give an overview of the Trump and the Biden platform on immigration. Okay, so President Trump and the current administration has a very clear stance or platform about immigration, and their whole idea is to protect U.S. workers, to protect the U.S. and the U.S. interests, and that affects their immigration policy directly. And we see impacts on both employment-based immigration and family-based immigration, as well as humanitarian-based immigration. So we can see it across the border. For those of you that are following me or following immigration, you probably know or are aware that there are multiple presidential orders that are now in place and are scheduled to be in place until the end of the year, December 2020. And there's travel bans that are in place and restrictions and limitations on legal immigration. Okay, so if you are someone that wants to come legally to the US, either on employment-based green card or visa, or family-based petition, perhaps, you might not be able to right now, because there is a presidential order in place, a presidential proclamation limiting that. Okay, so what we're expecting is that if Trump is reelected, those proclamations will probably continue, probably extending after the December 31st right now deadline that is supposed to be lifted on that day, but most likely it will be extended further. Okay. Other things that Trump has said and mentioned that he is thinking of or planning to do. He was thinking about the merit-based immigration system, trying to change our system to the way it is, for example, in Canada or Australia, where you collect points, and your points, the more points you have, the easier it is to immigrate to those countries. And this is a super simplified kind of explanation of the merit-based immigration system, but basically think about it as if you have opportunities to collect points. So it depends on your age, your skill, your investment, any investment capital that you have that you bring with you. The more points that you have, the more qualified you would be to immigrate. Okay. Trump is also suggesting to change completely the H-1B work visa system. So right now, for those of you who are familiar, H-1B, there's a random selection of applicants. There's always what's called like a lottery because there are more applicants interested than there are visas available. So what Trump was suggesting is that they would be, it would go by wage. So it would be a wage-based selection, that only the people that are going to be offered a specific wage for their employment will be able to apply for the H-1B visa. A lot of changes. So just one thing in general is that, in my opinion, there will be more restrictions, more limitations on immigrating to the U.S., both employment related and both family-based, humanitarian-based. Of course, everything that has to do with people that are here without documents, further restrictions, further scrutiny for those individuals. So that's what we can probably expect with a Trump administration if he is reelected. So, more of what we're seeing for the last 4 years. Now, something is very important, that specific visas are still available and are accepted and welcomed also under the Trump administration. For example, the E2 investor visa is a visa that is welcome under the Trump administration. And the reason is that this is an investment visa. So this is a visa that individuals from treaty countries can receive if they invest a significant amount of capital in the US. And when we talk about significant, we're not talking about millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. It could be anything starting from $60,000 to $80,000 here in the US. So that is something that has not stopped, and we don't think will stop as well, because the whole idea of this administration is to promote America. And if someone is coming in with money, with an idea to start a business, investing in the economy, creating jobs here in the US, so that is something that is welcome, has been welcome through the last 4 years. That's why I've been talking about the E2 investor visa a lot, because I do feel it is a visa that is available and accessible for a lot of people. So that's pretty much what, in my opinion, we will see with a Trump administration. Okay, if you guys have any questions, feel free to write the questions down. I'm happy to answer. Again, we don't know. This is we can't know for sure what will happen, but these are some of the things that the administration has been saying that they want to do and plan to do. Okay. So what happens if we find out very soon, hopefully today, maybe later this week, that we find out the results, and let's say that Biden is elected for president. So what will happen to your immigration case, or to immigration in general in that case? So again, this is my opinion. There's no way to know for sure until it actually happens. But if the administration changes and we have a Democratic president, Biden already said that he will cancel all the presidential proclamations and executive orders that are currently in place. Now, this would be a huge benefit for a lot of people that are waiting outside of the US right now to come to the US. This is not just employment-based immigration. These are not just the EB2, EB3, EB1 visas or green cards. This is also family-based immigration, okay? These are families of green card holders or other categories that are not immediate relatives of US citizens. So a lot of people have been waiting for visas to be issued to come to the US, and they could not come because there's a proclamation in place limiting and suspending legal immigration. Okay. So the first thing that he said is that he's going to cancel all those executive orders. And that's a good thing, because an executive order is not something that you need the Senate or the Congress or anyone to back you up on. So even if Biden is elected, but the Democrats don't have a majority in the Senate, it's still something that the president can do with his own authority. So that's one huge thing that will happen hopefully right away. Biden and the Democratic administration will probably work towards giving a path to people on DACA, the so-called dreamers that are here in the U.S. and they've been here in the U.S. since they've been children. They came in with their parents that brought them in a very young age. These are people that right now are in limbo. Basically, they don't have a path to get a green card or to become a U.S. citizen. And Trump's administration has been limiting their DACA status. So right now you can apply for new DACA. There are no new applications accepted. And also, if you're coming to renew it, you can only renew it for 1 year at a time, which is very burdensome for a lot of DACA kids. We call them kids, but some of them are not kids anymore. But for people with DACA, to renew every year, that's a burden because it costs money to do that. So those are two things that Biden already mentioned that he would plan to do. They talk about having a comprehensive immigration reform because it is so necessary, to have such a reform. However, this is something that, in my opinion, would be very, very difficult. The Biden, the Obama administration already tried to do this. And if you don't have a Democratic House and Democratic Senate, it's very, very hard to pass an immigration reform. So those are the things that the Biden campaign was talking about. And I do think that, if anything, we will see a lifting of the proclamations and the executive orders. So we don't know who's going to be the president. I'm sure everyone is in suspense. I am in suspense. I've been glued to the TV since yesterday, following everything. But we'll know very, very soon how it'll go anyway. And it's important for me, also to tell you guys that no matter what administration we get, and even if Trump is reelected and we do see a continuance of all of these limitation on immigration and proclamation, we here in my firm and me personally, we are committed to continuing to fight for our clients to get legal status in the U.S. or to come to the U.S. If that's what they want, if that is their dream. We will continue to fight for our clients every day. And we've been seeing successes even through the last 4 years. Yeah, it is harder and we do see pushback, but we still are getting work permits and social security numbers and visas and green cards and citizenships. So we are definitely committed to continuing this work that we do every day to fight for our clients, even if we see more limitations and even if it gets harder. Let's see if there's any questions. I do see a question here asking on TikTok that a case it's at the NVC. How long will it take to get an interview? So the NVC is a National Visa Center. That's where your case goes after the first petition is approved and you're ready for the next step. So how long will it take to get an interview? That really depends on how long it'll take you to comply with all the requirements from the National Visa Center. They ask for supplemental documents. You have to upload a visa application usually. And it also depends on the consulate or the country where you're applying for your visa. So it really depends, but if you are at the National Visa Center, that's a great step. That means that half of the way you have already done. Okay. I do also see a question here on Facebook. The question asks, do you deal with EB3 visas? Yeah, we deal with most of the visa types. EB3 is an employment-based green card option, and we do help individuals and companies with those kind of visas. I'm just going to check if we have any other questions. Okay. Angel is asking, I applied for unemployment benefit and I'm still waiting for my green card. Will that affect my case? So the unemployment benefits, so you are waiting for a green card. So I'm sure you're asking if the fact that you received unemployment will perhaps put you in a category of what's called the public charge and might affect the decision to grant you a green card because of that. Usually when you get unemployment, that's because you're eligible for unemployment. You have work authorization, meaning you can work for any employer. That should not affect your chances for a green card. Okay, definitely contact us if you want us to specifically evaluate your case, if there's any other factors that we need to know. But just receiving unemployment benefits by itself is not usually, in general, enough to disqualify you for a green card. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Angela is clarifying her question. You received unemployment benefits, but you don't have work authorization. Okay, well, that really depends on the state where you're at. Most states here in California, you do have to be work authorized to get unemployment benefits. But if in your state that's not one of the requirements, then good. That should not affect your chance to get a green card because of that. Okay. So there's a question here. My wife is on DACA and I'm a U.S. citizen. We were told that she needs to request a waiver and we have to go to Juarez for an interview. Okay. So definitely, feel free to reach out to us to discuss your specific case, okay? Because each case is really different. But just in general, if she received DACA after the age of 18 and she was here unlawfully for more than a year, okay, then she, in general, would need to request a waiver because once she leaves the country, she would be subject to a 10-year bar. So she needs to ask for a special waiver, sorry about that, to forgive her her 10-year bar or her unlawful entry, okay? If that makes sense. Sorry about this. Choking up here a little bit. Okay, but you need to check if she received DACA before she turned 18, then she might not have accrued unlawful presence, and this might not, she might not need a waiver. So feel free to contact us to schedule a consultation if you want to, if you want us to review your case specifically. Okay. There's a question here. Stuti is saying, I need help for the I-130. I'd love to help you with your I-130. Please contact us to schedule a consultation. Okay, and we can review your case and we'd love to assist you. Let's see. Okay, Angela's clarifying, I had work study on campus. I'm still on my F1 visa though. Okay, Angel, contact us, okay, if you want us to really look into that. I still do not think that receiving unemployment would be an issue. If you're on F1 visa, make sure that you are authorized to work so that the work that you're working at campus is something that is authorized. Okay. Okay, it sucks because she was 18 in 4 months. I know. It's really, but then I would want you to evaluate the option of perhaps if she could be eligible perhaps to apply for advanced parole. Is there any humanitarian reasons or something emergency why she would need to travel abroad? Perhaps she can apply for DACA advanced parole. If she does get DACA advanced parole, she could, depending on where you are, if you're in California or you're in the Ninth Circuit, she might be able to complete the process without leaving. So yeah, definitely contact us if you want a second opinion on your case. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Stuti says, I've already have an approved, let's see, you have an approved I-130. Okay, so now you're at, now you need to continue your case and we can gladly help you with that to go to the next step, okay? After you receive an approval on your I-130, the I-130 is a petition that a family member petitioned you for. Could be a spouse, could be a parent, could be a sibling. And after that is approved by USCIS, usually, if you're just filing the I-130, a lot of times your relative is abroad. So then you would go to the National Visa Center. Okay. If you're here, you might be able to adjust status. Really worth calling an attorney to get a consultation on your case to advise you best on how to continue. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to sit with an attorney and to get your case reviewed by someone that does this every day. An immigration attorney that is licensed to practice and has experience with what you are going through. There's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of information online, and you can never really compare your case to someone else's case because every case is different. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay. If you're watching the replay of this, feel free to write the questions as you go. As you're watching the replay, would stay on Facebook, not on TikTok if you're watching there. And I will gladly answer all of these questions. There's one more question. Let me see if I can answer it right just before we end for today. Mira is asking, if my H-1B is approved by USCIS, can an embassy or consulate deny at the time of stamping? That's a good question. So, for an H-1B, the first step, like you mentioned, is to get a petition approval here in the US. And then if you want to leave the US, if you want to be able to travel, you need to get a visa stamped in your passport, an H-1B visa. Now, technically, yes, the embassy or consulate can deny your visa request if they have a reason to deny it. So they need to have a reason, okay? It's less common that they would deny it based on something that they feel on the petition that's not correct, but that is also a possibility. Sometimes they can deny it if there's any previous immigration violations or any reasons that you would be inadmissible to the US. Okay, so definitely before you leave the country, even if you have an H-1B petition approval, consult with an attorney to make sure that you won't be inadmissible for any other reasons. Okay. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap up for today. Like I mentioned, everything I mentioned today about, what will happen, how this election will affect your case is 100% my opinion, based kind of what we're hearing both parties say they would do in terms of immigration. If you have any questions about your immigration case, please contact us. We'd love to help you schedule consultation and really assess your case. Like I mentioned, no matter what happens, we're here for you to serve our clients, to help you, and to gain status in the US. We do it every day, and we're going to continue to fight and do it no matter what administration we have. Okay, guys, so in the meantime, have a great day, and I will see you very soon.